Hello and welcome to today's episode of Startup with Poland, where we continue our deep dive into Poland's startup ecosystem and talk with some of its key movers and shakers. My name is Tessa McIver and I am your host. My guest today is Ashling Hunt. Originally from the US, Ashling moved to Poland 4 years ago and is project lead at Warsaw's Cambridge Innovation Centre. CIC has established itself as an expert in building innovation campuses across the globe. It is the largest community of startups in the world. And their mission is to fix the world through innovation and make the world better by fostering powerful innovation ecosystems. Founded in 1999 in Cambridge, Massachusetts, CIC has now 9 locations and every Thursday attracts over 2,000 people to their Venture Cafe events across the globe. So Ashling, wonderful to have you here with us today. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much for inviting me. This was really an honor. I was very surprised.
Well, I'm very excited to get your insights on various topics. But of course, let's start off with what is CIC? What is the concept behind it?
So our innovation campus in Warsaw, we have 2 organizations that run different programs under one roof. So we have CIC, which is my organization, and we run spaces, co-working spaces, private offices for startups and scale-ups. And our team is responsible for building the community within our spaces there for those private clients. Then we also have Venture Cafe Foundation Warsaw, and they run all of our open public programming. Their major event is the Thursday Gathering, which happens every single Thursday in Warsaw. It also happens at every Venture Cafe worldwide, which we bring in over 2,000 people every evening. The numbers actually are probably a lot more than that. In Warsaw, one Thursday alone, we bring in between 250 to 400 people, which is really amazing. They also run District Hall, which is an open co-working space and event space, so you can get involved with innovation even if you don't have your own company. And then they also run Trend House, which is a new community that we have in Poland, which has been the hardest to kind of engage with our community. And now we're doing it in a way that we hope feels meaningful. So it's looking for people who really want to drive the strategy and the future of their city by focusing on impact. And so it's a community of CEO, founders, some from startups, some from larger institutions, venture capital that are focused on, how do we take our knowledge, share it between each other, and create the greatest impact in our community?
Oh, wonderful. Well, I know Venture Cafe and the Thursday gatherings well, and they are indeed a must-attend event. So, but amazing that you're doing that globally, all on a Thursday, obviously in the different time zones. But
yeah, it's a cool way that no matter where you are in the world, if we have a Venture Cafe there, you can show up on a Thursday. The hours differ, between 3 to 8 or 5 to 8. But it's a community, you're a part of it, you can plug in really easily.
Yeah, no, fantastic. What really interests me though is, you've mentioned that CIC exists on 3 continents, but in Europe there is just Rotterdam and Warsaw. And why Warsaw? And also, what convinced you to personally, on a personal level, to come to Poland?
Yeah, we're in 2 cities for now, hopefully more coming soon. Warsaw was a very interesting expansion. I think from the outside, a lot of people were confused by it because we first entered Warsaw in 2015. So we've been here for a long time trying to build the ecosystem before we even opened our center. But for us, we had to explore for a while, but it really felt like a logical place for us to expand to. First of all, we really believe in people, the power of people and investing in people. And so when our team was here, they met the group that became our sort of founding team and our co-founders, and they showed us what it looks like here in Warsaw, the potential of this city. And so what we saw here was our original equation for a successful innovation hub was money, ideas, and talent. And Warsaw and Poland more broadly had all of that. There's a really strong, educated workforce, a lot of great ideas. We had seen really powerful startups that were here even in 2015. And then there was the money aspect, which has changed a lot over time. A lot of support was coming from the government. Now we see growing always private capital that sees Warsaw as this major hub. And we saw that there was a lot of innovation activity, but it was kind of all over Warsaw or, dispersed just across different pockets of the city. And we really believe in this power of concentration. And so our role we see is going into cities that maybe are not majorly established as innovation hubs, but pulling those pieces together, all of the really stakeholders. Yeah, and really helping to bring everyone together and foster that type of collaboration. And so for us, it took exploration, but it felt like the smart next step for us and something that was really mission driven. You can go into a Silicon Valley where of course there's a need for spaces for, startups. But here we saw that this was going to be the future of this region of the world and we wanted to be here. And we also found really great teammates that personally convinced me to come here. Okay. And for us, that was really, really valuable.
Okay, but was it difficult for you personally or was it kind of I'll just dive in and see what it's like, or?
Well, my connection to Poland and my interest in coming here, it's been a very wiry, windy road. So I was living in Poland actually before I moved back to the States to join CIC. So my history here was a lot longer and I knew that I loved this country. I had visited first when I was studying abroad in Eastern Europe elsewhere to Poland in 2011. And just something about it stuck with me and I said I had to come back here. I was really into Polish animation and literature. So I came for a cultural aspect. And when I moved back to the States, I actually saw that CIC, well, first of all, they'd had a major impact on my own community back in Cambridge. The area where we are I grew up in this Kendall Square area, and when I was growing up, it was completely dead. You didn't go there. And then when I moved back, I saw how much the environment had changed and how much CIC was a part of that. And I knew that I wanted to be involved in that both locally, and I knew that we were looking for a team in Poland to grow. So I really wanted to be involved in that development back in Poland. So for about 3 years, I worked for our CEO as our EA there and trying to link between the Polish and the US projects until finally the day came when it made sense. I actually built my own role here because we have been working on these innovation hub projects. So these are concentrated communities within one industry. And I really loved this concept of building these strong communities in these specific industries. And I thought we needed more help on this side. So Aurelius, who's our co-founder, Carrie Mraz, who was our GM at the time, they helped me to build this role to move to Poland. So it was very intentional.
Oh, wow. Okay, fantastic.
Yeah, and it's been, probably the best decision I've ever made. It's been really exciting to see how Poland has grown during this time. And it was exactly what I was hoping to dive into coming back here. So.
Oh, well, that's really fantastic to hear. That's really, I think, also very motivating for us who've been in Poland for a long period of time. Well, also me, not originally, but also for a long time, just to know that, that the country is drawing in people who really want to make that transformation and have that drive and obviously are so interested in the innovation ecosystem. So fantastic to hear. But when you compare, I don't know whether you're able to compare directly, but as a sort of ecosystem, the startup ecosystem in Massachusetts to Warsaw or Poland as a whole, what would you say are the differences?
So the differences have kind of, changed. Of course, as I've said, the ecosystem here in Poland has really grown a lot since I've been here, even despite the fact that we went through a challenging couple of years. We opened in the middle of 2020, which definitely had its own challenges. Yes. But one of the major challenges that we knew about when we were coming to Poland and that we were really eager to combat with our actual ethos and product is the difference in culture between collaboration and competition. And so in the Massachusetts ecosystem, it's been around long enough that people really have firsthand seen the value of being able to give to other entrepreneurs with the idea that in the future it'll probably pay you back, but not always expecting that. And so Venture Cafe was really born out of this idea that you learn the most by having experienced entrepreneurs, being able to mentor and educate younger ones in a more relaxed environment so that people have that personality balance with also, a desire to just impart the knowledge that you have. And CIC also, because we focus on density and concentration, was, we our whole ethos is around how do we get people to really, rub elbows, have these kind of collisions that are beneficial between different industries, between maybe leaders within industries or separate ones, so that you are able to accelerate the ideas that you might not have otherwise had. In Poland, there was a different attitude towards collaboration, and it's been an ongoing process of trying to figure out how best to demonstrate the ways in which it's better to work together, even if you maybe perceive yourselves as you could be competitive, like what if they take your idea or something like that, to show that that actually doesn't really happen, but you can evolve on the process of your idea, and really convincing people that the benefit of being near others is that you don't know what you don't know, and that there are people who are willing to give that knowledge. And in the future, you might want to do that too. And so we had to grow with like a small number of ambassadors in Poland who really believed in this idea from 2020 to now, where, our center is almost full. We have, as I said, 400 people who are coming every Thursday. Our event space is full. So we definitely see that change. And it's been really amazing to watch. But there's still more to do in that area.
Well, that's good. That's good. You've got more and more motivation to carry on with the journey that you've been on. So I know, apart from CIC itself, you're also a big advocate and supporter of diversity inclusion. Can you tell me a bit more about that, and what activities you're involved in that space?
Sure. So I have kind of my personal life and then my CIC life, and what I have to say is that CIC Warsaw, we most recently got together kind of actually over the course of a year, but it really accumulated in the last couple of months, of our entire team of client-focused and programmatic-focused team members to sit down and figure out what our vision is for our campus. And we have a lot of mission-driven individuals that come and really want to make a difference in the world. And so we saw that, CIC's mission is to fix the world through innovation. And we really believe that diversity and inclusion is the key to innovation, and that we provide this platform that we can really push this forward. And of course, constantly learn how to do that the best. For me, it's still a challenge to talk about the way that we make sure diversity, equity, inclusion is involved in every step of our process, because it opens you up to, maybe you're not doing it right all the time. There's a lot of time that goes into it. But we want to make sure that we're opening those conversations to say, hey, we're also still figuring it out. But this is something that is really critical to our mission and to the broader mission of the ecosystem. So we collectively brainstorm the different things that were important to us when we think about CIC Warsaw. And so our mission has evolved to say that we're really trying to build diverse, equitable, and inclusive spaces that foster a sense of belonging for people, regardless of their lived experiences. We hope that they can bring those to our community, and that we can build braver spaces within the innovation space. And so for us, that looks like building, first of all, time into each of our processes to think about who is not in the room, whose voice needs to be there, because we can only represent so many different voices between the staff that we have ourselves. Our hiring team, HR, is very attuned to making sure that they're thinking about the neurodivergencies that are prevalent, making sure that we're hiring and getting out the words about our open roles to different communities that we ourselves don't specifically target, like as employees, if we're doing referrals. And then for our programs, we think about, which are the organizations in Poland that we think we need to highlight? We think we have a lot of power in the business community because, we're responsible for people's livelihoods. Unfortunately, economics is a really critical point to equity. And if we're losing those communities if we're losing like a broader sense of community, then we're not able to actually level the playing field when it comes to equity and social mobility, economic safety, personal safety. And we see the business world as being a major communicator of, social social responsibility and human rights. And so we try to make sure that our events offer those perspectives to our clients, because we focus on, our internal training for our CIC staff, but then also how are we bringing knowledge around building diverse teams and sustainable businesses to our larger client base when, we're working mostly with startups who, if you're familiar with, building a startup, the last thing on their minds usually is human resources, building those diverse and equitable teams, because it does feel daunting. It feels like a lot of time, and when you don't have a lot of time or money, it's not going into your people. But it's really important to actually focus on that, so that when you're building your company, there's a lot of returns on diversity. You are going to be able to think more critically about your user base, and we are really trying to drive home that this is possible for a company at any stage.
Fantastic. No, that's, I'm a big advocate myself of diversity and inclusion. So, great to hear that you're doing so much, even though that, it does require the additional time, obviously, but it does reap rewards afterwards. So I'm interested to know what's next for CIC. I got a hint of a new location that may be popping up in Europe. But generally, I realise there are a lot of things you can't tell me because they come out officially at some point. But what in a general scope globally and indeed for specifically for Warsaw as well are the plans for CIC?
Yeah, so we can't go into too many details about new sites, but what I can say is that most recently we announced that we'll be partnering with University of Chicago in the US to build labs. That's something we don't have in Poland, but in the US we've been building shared labs, which hopefully at some point we can bring here as well.
Wonderful.
Which is very exciting for us.
Yeah.
And then we will also have a new Venture Cafe location coming online in Switzerland very shortly, either the end of this year or the start of 2024. And so we've been, working, trying to get something started in Switzerland for a long time. So I'm very proud that this is happening. It's always a lot of groundwork to try to build that type of community.
Yeah.
And the other places across the globe, you'll have to wait and see.
So great, but what's up specifically for CIC Warsaw?
So for CIC Warsaw, because we have a very active campus, we also have a lot of exciting things that are coming up. So I mentioned Trend House earlier, and so we're relaunching a new Trend House program, which I said is really impact focused, which will be more announcements about that soon. Very exciting. That's led by Dominika and Natalia, my colleagues at CIC. And then on my side, I'm working now on our soft landing program, which is for international companies that are looking to get their foot in the door in Poland.
Oh, wonderful.
This is a program that we have actually at multiple sites at CIC, and we're really trying to leverage our global network in a way that's beneficial for companies that are trying to come to Warsaw, but then also go to our locations like Miami, Boston, Tokyo. And so that will be on the horizon for next year, which really ties into our diversity, equity, inclusion, and how we're making sure that our space is a really welcoming space for people to get their first legs in the door, whether you're new to innovation or also just new to Poland and innovation, which is scary for me as a foreigner. But hopefully I'm able to provide some good insights having gone through that process.
Well, perfect. No, I'm sure that sounds like an absolutely fantastic program. So looking forward, and good luck for that being launched next year.
Thank you.
And thank you to our listeners, and tune in next time for Startup with Poland.